Hello and welcome. India's BPM industry has been facing a lot of challenges. Some of them are not new, considering that the quality of services desired by clients overseas has been going up and the industry is gearing up here. Equally, there has been an increase in the value of services delivered, but as many people are not being employed, and that brings us to the more fundamental problem. How is the skilling issue going to get addressed? Now, this is an old one, but of course, the iterations are new. Joining me now is Som Mittal, President of NASSCOM, speaking to us. Mr. Mittal, so, the issue of quality of labor or skilling is not a new one, but yet as the years pass, the dimensions it assumes are different. And I think you're facing a particularly new set of challenges this year or now specifically.
Yeah, so I think there is a shift happening. Up till now, customers were telling us what to do. In fact, now they're coming back and saying, what else can you do for us? So you can see that the fact that they're asking that question means that we need different skills at different level. So for example, we need to know the customer's business better, and hence we need domain expertise. Yeah. We work across 66 countries, so we need contextual information about those countries. Then when we have to do more value add work, right, then we need different set of skills. So while I think the bulk work would still be in terms of transaction processing, etc., but clearly it's no longer just hiring people with certain qualifications. We actually need people with different skills. Now, we also realize that the burden of building these skills cannot be put on academia, because academia's job is to teach, right? So I think there are certain things that can be done at the academia level, which is softer skills, better communication, problem-solving capabilities, etc. But if skills have to be built, then I think either they are in addition or to the course curriculum, or there are specialization courses that are available, and I think that's what we are really working on. So I think it's a good problem to have, because it's taking up the chain, and whether it was customer interaction services that we have, it's becoming far more technology integrated, and there are multiple ways of delivering it, to the very, very high-end areas like analytics, where we need people who are data scientists, statisticians, right? We never hired those people before.
Right.
So up till now, the industry has worked well to have brought in many of these things internally, but I don't think we alone can manage. So I think what we need to do is build bigger skills internally and have more industry-ready people coming in.
Right, so that's at one end of the chain. So let's talk about the other end. So you did a perception survey recently, and the findings seem to be somewhat mixed, as in it's clear that not everyone sees this industry as the most desired kind of goal or an ideal employer. You're also facing differential perception in different cities. Let's say at the tier 1, perhaps people are not so enthused about joining the BPM industry. Tier 2, tier 3, maybe things improve. How are you looking at that?
Yeah, so first I think we must get to the facts, right? I think this industry provides enormous career opportunities. People who are, with just a degree, right, a 3-year degree, right, would probably not find an easy job. This was an outstanding place to come. We give great working environment, learning environment, and I think people have grown. But over the years, and maybe all of us collectively maybe should take blame if we have to, but even the media projected BPO as call center, and call center was played down as if it was a bad thing to do. But customer interaction services is taking calls, solving the problem, ensuring that we move on and do the analytics subsequently. So I think all these roles are actually great roles, and I think people forget that what kind of careers. Now, when we did this survey, we went across employees across an organization, we went to students, we've gone to academia, we've gone to parents, and we realized that—
And to media as well.
Yeah, right. And we found that the perceptions that academia, which are influencers, parents, and students, had a much lower perception of the job than people who had been 2, 3, 4, 8 years. In fact, people who have been in the industry for 4+ actually have now realized what the great scope is. So they have become ambassadors. So I think it is very important, particularly given our own employment situation in this country, that this is a really good career option.
Right.
Now, to do this, it's not just good to do some, shall we say, good PR around this, but we have now developed occupational standards. We have identified 17 entry-level skills that we need, and we have now developed career paths. So a person joining an X, Y, Z among those 17, where he or she can reach. So I think it's a little longer term one that we need to take and convince people by using those who have already been in the industry for several years as to where they started and what has happened to their lives and careers.
So you're saying anyone who's finished 4 years in this industry now settles into the industry and therefore has adopted, or chances of adopting this industry as a career are high?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let me come to two different points. Now, one is, while all this is happening, the Indian economy is also slowing down. Industry outside is shrinking, right? Automotive, consumer goods, retail, they're all shrinking. People are going out. So how does that impact your supply chain in any way, or the kind of feedstock that you're looking at?
So you're looking at the India situation?
Yeah.
Right. So, it's a misnomer that we are short of talent, right? Completely. This year, we had 650,000 engineers pass out, and we had more than 1.2 entry-level seats available in colleges, right? So just imagine if all those seats got filled up 4 years from now. In the past, we were hiring 150,000 engineers out of the 300,000 that came out.
That's
right?
IT and BPO.
I'm talking just the IT,
okay.
right? So we would hire aeronautical engineers and civil and chemical, and because that was the supply to us. Now I think there is enough supply of computer science, computer engineering, but we still have to reskill them. Similarly, when you look at BCom, BA, BScs, which are also a field in some areas, I think we have lots of them coming in. But I think what has happened is that people have, young people take it as an entitlement that there will be a job. I think gone are those days that unless you skill yourself, there is severe competition, right? So it is not what you know that's important, it's what you do with what you know that's very important. So I think we are changing. So I think students and so on will have to differentiate themselves to becoming. So right now what we do is we have to filter from very large bucket, right. And hence we might take 1 in 100. So we want to come to a situation where we take 1 from 25, right? Because those 25 are the real skilled people.
So is that an average roughly? I mean, is there like an industry number? How much do you take in amongst all the people who apply for?
Yeah, so we have actually, we've become very mature at it. We have outsourced many things. So the early stage filtering is already done. NASSCOM itself has now developed assessment, competency assessment. So there is a filtration that happens because of that. So they will not even appear for an interview, right? And they won't even apply, or we won't apply.
But so what would be the number then? Would it be 1 in hundreds or thousands that actually
gets? So we have two different scenarios here. If you look at the tech side, we sort it out by going to restricted colleges. So we go to 300 colleges and we'll probably pick up a very large percentage. So if you look at that, it's sorted out. But when you look at BPM industry, right, where we're taking entry-level people, then the supply is very large, right? So over the years, we have realized certain backgrounds of people, their family background and so on, which actually becomes a filter. So we have many filters that we use to do that sorting out. But I think it is still, if you really have people aspiring to people who join, could be anywhere from 100 to 1 to 50 to 1.
Right. So let me come to the other interesting thing that I saw in this perception study. The role of parents. I mean, they seem to play a very important role in deciding and directing a young person's career, or maybe encouraging that person to either stay on or to leave. So you have a different constituency, which is perhaps unlike any other in any other industry in the world, to actually work on and convince.
Yeah. So you're right. I think we have been encouraging women to join our industry. On an average, we have 33% of our industry being women. If you look at the BPM, the percentage is higher, right? So very clearly, I think the parents would talk about safety, security. They would talk about what kind of nature. And then since we are a 24/7 industry, right, there is this whole issue about working at odd hours and so on, which is also true for airline. It's also true for hospitality and many other industries.
Talk about BPM.
Right, but BPM is pretty large. So you're right, there is this study. But so we have a very interesting thing. On one hand, Gen Y has a mind of their own, and then there is this influence that the parents have. There is also this whole societal stuff where, the way things got projected, everything was call center, it was BPO, and the media would talk about something happens, he says,
BPO employee.
BPO employee happened. It could happen to any. So sometimes the problems of the youth get mixed with problems of our sector because our average age in our industry is 27, maybe BPM is 25 or 26. So the normal problems of the youth, because they're all educated white collars, seem to become. So I think we have work to do. In many of the own organizations, in fact, on my own, we had open house for parents to come, right? We would actually have a parent day. They could come and see where they work, what kind of environment, what security, what food they eat. So I think they would come and say, this is the place we want our. We would tell them about how we have security processes in place. So I think it needs hard work. It shows that the kind of work that we do is actually adding value to them. And in fact, we are now working on increasing the longevity of our employees, particularly women employees, so that they can increase their career. We can get them back as well. So I think there is work to be done.
Right. So last question, how's the year ahead looking? What are the new trends that you're seeing in terms of verticals that are perhaps getting passed on to companies here?
So BPM is one sector which you can't define, right? IT has a definition, engineering services, but BPM means anything that is digitized and can move, we can do it, right? So good news is that we keep adding, and there is, however much we said, what is the target market 10 years from now, it'll be wrong because we'll do something else. But having said that, I think this growth in BFSI is going up. So I think we must first look at factors that are leading to increases. I think regulatory environments, right, are putting huge pressures on banking, et cetera, in terms of the reports they have to generate, the data they have to create, records they have to keep, analysis that they need. And I think that is leading to a lot more new work in the same customer base. Similarly, in healthcare, right, there is regulatory environment that's coming in and the compliance requirements. So one is that big driver. Second is people are realizing that unless you transformed your business process, just by outsourcing some, you get only a cost relief. But if you had the whole process end-to-end re-engineered, then you get more. So people were earlier giving us only two processes, two payments. But now payment is only one part. So can you do quote to cash, right? And hence, can you re-engineer that? So that's leading to a lot of increase. I think Europe, which does outsourcing but was slower in business process outsourcing, we're seeing a lot of traction there, right, of people. Then we have newer tools that are coming up, for example, BPaaS, which is business process as a service, right, where you would find that, I can give you an example even of large companies, their whole recruitment process, right? Either you buy the tool and run it, or you're asking somebody to run that tool and run the process for you. Right, so I think those are the areas that we are seeing. So in the coming year, right, our overall industry growth rate is 12 to 14. I think the sector, BPM sector, will be probably a couple of percentage points more, right? And we are seeing that traction happening. But it's what we are seeing is it's not more of the same. It's going to be different. People are moving their model. It's no longer FTE alone. While there will be a lot of work that is FTE based, but there is outcomes, there is sharing of risk, more value add. So I think there is a change that the industry is going through to make this happen. And just like we have, I think year by year we have evolved and we've come a long way. I'm only stuck with that question that customers ask, what more can you do for me? And I think that's the driver.
And that's a good note to end as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Mittal.
Thanks.
You.